good amount in those days. He said, okay, I'll take it. So then, I came to San Francisco, went right away to Prabhupada's apartment. I brought in the carton, presented the book to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was so pleased. And he said, how many copies do you have? I said, well, there were 20, but now there's only 19. He said, oh, only 19? What happened to the other one? I said, well, I sold it on the plane to the person next to me. Prabhupada said, oh, very good. This is very auspicious. That the first copy was distributed. Then he ordered, he said, all these books, there were only 19 of them, he said, these should all be distributed at the Rath Yatra. And then the one that he had in his hand, and he said, and this one also.
You couldn't see the deities until they were on the Rath cart. That was one of our technicalities that we thought, had to be there. And no one should view the deities until, it was like looking at prasadam before you offer it. So nobody's going to see the deities until they get on the Rath Yatra cart. And then, when they were all up on the cart, then they would be, revealed in all their magnificence.
I think there was some disturbances going on, and Prabhupada had given Vishnujan the Nrsimha prayers. And Vishnujan had just been up with Prabhupada and came down, and we were on the street right in front of the temple, and Vishnujan said to all of us that Prabhupada had given him this mantra for protection of the festival. And right on the street he taught us, and I think this is the first time we chanted the Nrsimha prayers.
Myself and Gargamuni and others there, we did not want Prabhupada to go to the Rath Yatra festival. What had happened was that we got threats. The Black Panthers sent word that we're going to attack your guru if you hold this festival. And they were very credible threats. So we were afraid. So we told Prabhupada that, you shouldn't go to the festival. But Prabhupada couldn't accept this. First of all, he didn't care so much about threats. But second, it was just inconceivable that Prabhupada would not go to the Rath Yatra. And Prabhupada insisted on going. And I was insisting Prabhupada not go. So Prabhupada insisted, you must take me. So Gargamuni was driving the car, and he drove very slowly, and he took a very roundabout route in order to arrive late at the festival.
Things started out well, but they quickly got worse. One of the carts had a certified weld that cracked, and Balaram's car was out of commission. The newspapers wrote an article called Harried Krishna. That was just after we were attacked by the Black Panthers. And so they had all these Black Panthers all in afros, black t-shirts, and black pants. And they attacked with some martial arts. So Brahmananda and others were fighting them. And we had poles to keep people from getting crushed under the Rath Yatra cars, very beautifully decorated poles. So we used these poles to fend them off. My father was dressed like an Old Testament prophet of old with his white beard, and he stood there, and he had a staff. And he was crashing it onto the ground, crying, "Tolerance! Tolerance! Tolerance!" We marched literally 7 miles to the sea. At one point there were cars parked on either side, and I cried out, "Move the cars!" And 25 people would grab each car and just send it skittering. Now Subhadra's cart had an interesting miracle attached to it as well. What happened is we came along, and Shyamasundar had used a piece of malleable iron as the axle for Subhadra's cart. And it had started to get worn through after 2 years of Rath Yatras, which we weren't